Welcome, fellow travelers. I'm Joe, and this is Good Times RV. We've got some maintenance today on the Dolly. I'm going to change out the brake fluid and grease up the kingpins and the tie rod end. Just general service. I've had it about 3 years, about 23,000 miles on it. And you'll see that the brake fluid is in need of changing. For those that are unaware, the brake fluid should be changed every 2 or 3 years. The brake fluid is hygroscopic, means it attracts water, and as such, it has a tendency, if it gets too hot, it'll boil, create steam, it'll make it brakes mushy. But also, the water in the master cylinder and the slave cylinder will cause corrosion. So I want to get the old fluid out, put fresh fluid in. I like the Motul fluids. 600 is a good value, I guess. It's 27 bucks, not your $5 corner store stuff. It is a .4, and just I'll give you a schedule here. There's .3, .4, a .5, which is not compatible with .3, 4, or 5.1. I'm not sure. Must have been an engineer making up these numbers. But the .3 and .4 glycol based. I'll put up the components here. And the .5 is silicon based. The benefit of .5 is its high boiling point, and it is not hygroscopic. It does not attract water, and consequently is pitched as a lifetime fluid. Here, I'd just like to interject. The wet boiling point is when the fluid has moisture in it, as opposed to the dry boiling point, which is fresh with no moisture in it. So let's get to it. I purchased some Motul 600. This is not the super best, but it's pretty good, and it's a .4, which is important. This RBF 600 has a very high boiling point, which is what I'm looking for, and it's stable for about 3 years. It's expensive, about 27 bucks for this on Amazon. It's 500 milliliters, 1.05 pints. So it's not a quart, it's a pint, so it's small. But it should be enough. We'll see. Again, Motul, I believe in the Motul brand. Typically pretty good. So I'm going to leave this in the bag until we're taking this thing apart. The other thing that I use, this works, but this is a mighty vac. This is probably, bought this probably in 1985. And what it does, it's a pump, and you can suck out the fluid from the reserve, empty that reserve out, and then fill it with fresh, and then go to the wheels, go to the wheel bleeder, hook on a tube, and draw the fluid through the system and get the lines clear and the slave cylinders clear. So hopefully this goes nice and smoothly, and I'll show you some of the points to watch for. One is that you're using the proper fluid, and again, this is .4. I figure for every 3, you'll see this is a relatively straightforward system. So every 3 years I can spend 27 bucks and clean it out. So, alrighty, so let's get started. So the master cylinder is here, and you can see here the tubing goes back to either disc brakes. And I'll show you on the disc brakes, there are 2 bleeder valves. The one you want to use is the upper bleeder valve. The reason they have 2 is so that they can use those calipers on either side, and they won't have to worry about which way is up, so to speak. But here's where the fluid's kept. there's the fluid topped up. So we'll have to draw all that out when I'm ready, and then we'll draw it down through the lines back to the calipers, and then we'll have a finished system. And I may even be able to do this without taking the wheels off, though for photography I think I'll just take the wheels off in any event. A couple things to watch for. If you can see that, use only .3 or 4 fluid from a sealed container, and we have that. And the other is keep the wheels torqued to 120. So have a way of torquing these wheels when you're done. I do have a torque wrench, so I will be torquing them to 120. Though to take them off, I'll use an impact, and hopefully that works. Or I have a breaker bar, which is also, if it's necessary. But impact is nice because then you don't have to worry about the wheels rolling around. The impact will just pop them right off. Alrighty, let's get going. Oh darn, lost the video of pulling the fluid out of the calipers, but it's pretty straightforward. The upper valve, you just put the tube over it, loosen it some, draw the fluid out until it runs clear. Put the bar or the hydraulic jack under the wheel. It about lines up, the wheel studs lines up about perfectly with the wheel studs, and tire just goes right on. If you do this with care, you can do it without killing yourself. Again, the second wheel is a lot easier than the first. Well, I hope you found that useful. It's very interesting. A lot of people are not aware that brake fluid ages quite so quickly and will corrode your brake system, especially in a car. I mean, this Dolly has a very basic brake system, but if you let it go in a car, it can destroy your ABS pump, which is something you do not want to do. An extraordinarily expensive repair. So every 2, on the outside 3 years, get your fluid changed. Just have it purged. Any mechanic that regularly services your brand of car should be able to do it fairly easily. Shouldn't be more than an hour of time. And at the same time, they can check the pads to make sure the wear is okay. I did check the pads on the Dolly, certainly adequate, and the surface of the discs are fine. Doesn't do that much braking. Okay, if you liked it and you care to share this with other people, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any ideas on how I might do this better or different, let me know in the comments. I'm Joe, and this is Good Times RVing. See you on the road.